Let me ask you, would you take your 7-year-old sister to go see The Hangover, or maybe your 12-year-old little brother to go see Pretty Woman? How about your 10-year-old nephew to go see Saw? Well, there's a process called movie rating, and this process helps us to choose appropriate choices for ourselves and those around us. Today I'm going to go through the process of movie rating, and we're going to follow the 4 M's, which is the makeup, members, methodology, and mission of this process. First, to start out with the makeup. There's many people involved in this process, first starting with the MPAA, the Motion Picture Administration of America. They were started in 1968, and what they do is they submit the movies that need to be rating to the CARA, which is another association called the Classifications and Rating Administration. Now, these people are the ones who actually rate the movies. And then you may ask, well, who enforces this? Well, that would be the NATO, which is the National Association of Theater Owners. These are the people that when you go to the movies and you're only 15 trying to go see that R-rated movie say, I'm sorry, you're not old enough, try a different movie, or time to go home. Now, specifically into the members, you may say, I know that there's a committee, but who are they? Well, it's a group of about 8 to 13 members, and there's some criteria that you have to follow in order to be a member. And the first and most important thing is you must be a parent. Also, after that, you can have no affiliation with the film industry whatsoever before, so you couldn't have been a producer or a director or any of that, just so that you don't have a conflict of interest. Next, they're independently employed by the CARA, and so their job is just to come and to rate these movies to help other parents. Next, you may say, well, what is the methodology behind what these members do? Well, they try to rate movies based on some of these basic things, being sex, violence, language, drug use, and any other situations that they may feel that other parents would be uncomfortable with. Now, as we go through each rating, I compiled a couple movies for you that might jog your memory. So first we have the G rating, which stands for general audiences. This means that all ages are admitted to come see it. And next, we have PG, which is parental guidance suggested, so there might be some material that some parents may not be comfortable with for really small children. After that is PG-13, and this is parents are strongly cautioned. There's going to be some content in here that you may not want your child to see if they're not at least the age of 13. Next is R, which stands for restricted, and this means that if you're under the age of 17, you must have a parent or guardian with you if you're either going to go purchase the movie or go view it at a theater. And finally, there's NC-17, which means that no matter who you're with, whether you're with your mom, your dad, or your guardian, you may not go see or buy this movie unless you are 17 years old. And an interesting fact about NC-17 movies is you may think, I don't really hear about them that much, or I don't see commercials for them, or I haven't seen very many of them. And it's usually because when a movie comes out and it gets an NC-17 rating, that's obviously going to shrink the target audience. So it's going to be a lot harder for the producer to bring in a bunch of revenue for that movie. So what often happens is they cut a few scenes out that may be extra risque or extra violent to go back down to that R-rated movie. So a ton of the R-rated movies that you're familiar with, this has happened for. So that uncut, unrated version is really rated NC-17. A couple more specific things is that any depiction of drug use or more than brief nudity automatically warrants a PG-13 movie. And more than one harshly used, sexually driven expletive is an automatic R rating. But if a movie gets rated R, there can be a vote of a 2/3 majority of the committee to overturn that, to move it back down if they think that it really is appropriate for younger people. Next, we've gone through the makeup of this whole process, who does it, being the members, and their methodology behind it. Now let's see how that aligns with their mission. And since 1968, this has been the mission of the Motion Picture Administration. And they understand that the creators of these motion pictures undertake the responsibility to tell people what is in their movies so that parents can fulfill their responsibility of protecting their children and not robbing them of their innocence at a young age. Next, you may say, well, this mission is great, but how efficient is this in society? Well, I'm sure that almost every single one of you have seen one of these symbols before, whether it be on the back of a DVD, whether it be in a movie theater during a preview, or on a movie poster. Which leads me to a common misconception. Many people think that this is associated with the government and is a legal thing that every producer must go through, but it's not. It's indeed a voluntary process. So its prevalence in society gives it so much credence because this isn't even required, but I'm sure that none of you have seen a movie without that little box with that letter in it that tells you exactly what it's rated. So today we've gone through the makeup, the members, their methodology, and how that goes with the mission of the Motion Picture Administration and their ratings process. I hope that you remember all this information that I shared with you today so that one day you're not that person that has to explain to your little sister what that really bad expletive means, or explain to your little brother in the backyard that he can't hurt people like Russell Crowe did in Gladiator.